there, Geekster. Welcome to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Nogwanda and I am a software developer. Basically, my channel is a how-to channel for a mobile application development. Please show me support by subscribing to my channel and click the notification button to get notifications every time I upload a new video. Now in this tutorial, it's a weather app where we will be catching API data and then display it. Now let's start with our tutorial. So I'm gonna start by creating the IONIC app. This is IONIC 6, by the way. I'm gonna do IONIC start, the name of the app, and then let it run. I'm gonna choose Angular and then go for the blank. Now, okay, for this option, I'm just gonna leave it to a no for now. So I'm gonna wait for it to start and open my browser and the project using Visual Studio Code, and we'll start coding very soon. Now great, when that is done, I'm gonna show you a cool way to code. Usually I just install some packages here, extensions. These are basically helping me to develop even better because it auto completes everything. I've installed the Angular and also IONIC. What it does, the IONIC, just go for package for IONIC snippet. What it does, it actually makes your work very easy. You'll just see it auto completes everything and no need for you to stress about errors again. All right, now so we are starting on a blank, so I'm just gonna go and use the home. This will be where the weather will actually display. Now on this tutorial, I'm going to be using an API from an OpenWeather API. All right, let me first now remove everything that is currently inside here. Now for an API, you will need an API key, so you'll be able to fetch data uniquely for your project. Now I'm gonna go on to the website. So on your browser, go on OpenWeather map.org, and then you'll see this, go under APIs, and we're going to use the current weather data. So it has another variety of weather, so you can just fetch, but for now we are going to go for just the current weather. Okay, you need to subscribe, so you need to actually sign up to get your unique API key. So I'm gonna use the free one, so they have different prices depending on what you want to use it for, and it has also their own limits to it. So the free package one will work perfectly if you're just studying the API calls or just your mini little project for your friends or just for yourself. Otherwise you can just go for the paid app packages, which they have right here. And I like this API because it's very quick, probably because of my network, but it's very quick and reliable. And yeah, you should just basically use it. So just click on the Get API, and then if you're not signed in, they're gonna ask you to sign in. Because I've already signed in, I'm getting this page right here. Right, so you're gonna get your keys under the API keys. So you can generate more than one key, or you can just use the key, just one key. You have to activate it. They're gonna show you how to actually activate it via email and stuff. Follow that instructions, but that is the key that you will need for your project. Now usually I store my keys under environment, so I'm gonna go under environment folder, environment, this part here. So the important thing, if you're publishing this, so this page won't be visible to the public. Also, if you're gonna push to Git, you'd want to hide your API keys because they are supposedly a secret key, so no one else can use it because they might abuse it. Especially if you pay for it, people might use your key and also get data for free under your key. So here I'm storing my keys under the environment. So I'm gonna have API key and also an API URL, and I'm gonna show you how to get an API URL. When I copy that key, just paste it there. Okay. Okay, so there's a document. Go to docs to get the document. So that is the URL part that you would need. So this is a document on how to load data and also the parameters for the APIs. Now I'm gonna paste the URL here, and then it is ready to be used. I'm gonna save this and go to my home page. So to call it on my homepage, I'm going to then call environment, and environment then get the API key and the URL. Now I'm going to declare an API variable, API key, and API URL variable here. Call environment. No, that's the wrong environment. Actually, it should be able to call in the API URL. So check the package here. It should not be the prod one. Now it works fine. I'm gonna declare the API key. I call it URL, main call the environment, and the call the key. Now, when it's like this, I'm able to use it here. So I'm gonna use to call my APIs. I have to use the HTTP client from Angular. Let me first have the load data will be the function that will collect the data. Okay, so here I'm going to inject the HTTP client from HTTP client. You will need to import it. So we have to go on top of the under the import. So everything that you inject, of course, you have to import it. So I'm gonna import the HTTP client. I think it's from Angular Common. If it does not give errors, it means it is fine. Yes, /HTTP. So underneath my load data, this is where I'm gonna use the HTTP client to subscribe and get response from my API. So I'm gonna use http.get. So in the get, I need to understand how it works. So they will need a URL. In the documentation, you see if you want to search by a city name, you need to have all this part. So the documentation will give you also the description on how you need to call the API so that you'll be able to search by a city. So this is a call that you will need. In the orange parameters, there is where you will put in your personal stuff. So this is where you inject your city name as well as the key. So I'm gonna copy all that and then paste it here. So also I'm gonna show you how to include the parameters. You need those two with inverted commas, a $sign, and curly brackets to put in a parameter. So here I am gonna call an API URL, and then the parameter that I want will be the weather will be Q. So Q is for city, a city name. So Q is equal to then the city name that I want. All right. So I'm gonna put in there. Hard coded for now. I'm gonna hard code a city. So I'm gonna put in Johannesburg because I'm in South Africa. Alright, so after the city name, another parameter is an API ID, which is an API key. Right, so the parameter, let's check it. It's app ID, and then I'm gonna put in my key. So I'm gonna say API key. Right, this should be done. All right, according to the documentation. Let me expand this so you could see it nicely. Now I'm gonna subscribe to this .get so I could get the response. Okay. Now this is in the same bracket, so it just combined URL, the parameter for the CT, as well as the key. So I'm gonna subscribe and see if we're calling this, what are we gonna get. So I'm gonna call the results. So the results can say response or anything. So basically it's where every result or response will be stored at. Now let's see what it has for us. So I really recommend that you log everything so you could see what you're working with and where you actually go wrong. Saves a lot of time. So under my constructor, I'm gonna call load data, so it could just load every time I enter the home page. So I'm gonna let it run here. Okay, so I see there's a bug there. Let's see what it is. Okay, it's the page model. So basically when you get this error, it means you have to import it under your app module. So everything that you inject here, it has to be registered under your app model. So I'm gonna go on here and say HTTP client module and then import it right at the top. Should not give an error now. Okay, great, we got our response, and this is how it looks like when everything went well. So you have the temperature details, the name of the city I've searched for, everything you basically just would need to display a weather. So under the documentation, they've explained everything that is there. So basically you just want temperatures and yeah, maybe descriptions and all that just to display it under your applications. But you can read more about the parameters. Now those are the parameters. You can read more about the response that you get from an API when you call it from the OpenWeather API. So basically it's a JSON format that you're getting here, and it has all that details here. This is it's an example of the call that they've made, and this is their responses. That's basically the descriptions about everything else. And then when it works very well, then we are ready to display our data. Our life has become even better now. Now let's start by displaying just basic temperature. And to do that, I'm going to declare a variable that will hold just the part where it has the temperature. So I'm going to declare a variable here. I'll call it the weather temperature or weather temp, or the data type of any. Now the part that I want to save inside that variable will be, let's check in our JSON response. We have the main, so we need to catch the part of the main so it could just collect every stuff that is in there. So to do that, I am going to say this weather temp is equal to results, which has everything, but we just want the main To do that, I will have the square brackets and inside have that main. Now let's log. As per usual, you need to log everything to see if you're in the right track and we have the right stuff. Okay, let's run it. As you could see, our line 22 there, we have the main stuff. So we have that part, small part that we want to display. So it's gonna be much more easier to display when we go to our HTML. So inside my HTML, I'm gonna just call in a card inside that card and just going to display the temperature. I'm using iron item, usually just great for the spacing. Okay, so with temp from the ts dot temp, which is from the JSON, that line dot temp will give us the exit value of the temp there. So when you run it, as you can see, the results are there and they're now showing. So that's how basically I'm going to just show all the results from the JSON, the response to our HTML, and we're going to be designing the whole thing. So let's also, actually I should put it inside the span. Yes, that's the right format to do it. And run it again. Now the next thing we want to actually show is the date. I want to show like a date, so I'm going to declare it today's date. So, you know, for you use our UX, we want to see the today's date with the today's weather. So I'm going to have the new date there. So this will be, I'm going to have another iron item right on top of that one, where I'll be showing the date. I'll use the P just to show title of today's date, or to say today's report. That looks better. Underneath that, I am then going to show the date, which is from the TS. So I'm just going to use a iron label. I'm going to use curly braces because you want the data from the TS. So I'm going to use today's date. Let's see how it looks like. So it's a long date like that, does not even fit and it's not user friendly. So we're gonna use a pipe for date format. So the pipe for the dates, this is how you do it. Just after your date there, you write date and then those dot there, and then this is the format. I want the triple E is for the days, the D is for days, month. So as you can see, it says Friday 28th Jan, like that. So I'm gonna send it to the end because it looks like it's next to each other. They're not birthing. So let's see how it looks like now. It looks better. Let's remove the line underneath that. It does not look any pretty. So say lines equals to none, and then we are done. That's how it looks like. So okay, for the temperature as well, it's not looking well. It's a long temperature. I'm not sure the formats of the temperature, but we want it to be 80 degrees Celsius, so which means we're gonna subtract it with 273.15. And then we're gonna round it to a 0 decimal because it's gonna give us so many remainders. So now we have 1 solid degree Celsius weather, which makes sense. And then yeah, what else would want to have? We're gonna have that symbol there. Let's see, let's give it an O. Let's see how it looks like. Should be right next to it. All right. Now the next thing that we're gonna do is when I check what we can just put in there. So if we check our results, we have the name of the city right there. Of course, you'd want to see the city that you've searched for or where that belongs to. As you see there, it goes, it in the JSON formats is under the name. So I'm gonna have an ion item right underneath there. Let me have the icon name for the location. Hope it's location, yeah. Yes, and right next to it, I will then have my name of the city. Now let's see. Okay, we have not declared it yet underneath our TS. Okay, there's no way we can find it. So we need, even name won't work. Yes. Okay, we need to go on our TS and call the whole entire JSON and take only just the name, because temp only returns the main part, which does not include the name of the city. So let's go and declare it. So I'm gonna call it the city name. Let's declare it to any. Let's assign it. So the city.name, city name, is equals to results dot name. No, not like that. Same as we did with the weather temperature. The name is inside the brackets, and then just here we're just gonna call the city name. Let's see if it will work. Let's run it. There we go, it has our name there. Great. Now the missing part, just want to expand this and carry on that we have everything else. What we'd want to, okay, let's remove the lines there. So the next thing that we would want to have is an icon for our weather. Okay, so I'm just thinking how and where we can put it. Let's first declare it. Okay, so our icon, let's see where we can find our icon inside our JSON. It's right inside weather. It's an array. In the first index array of weather, which is 0. So our icon weather will be results at weather. So it gives us an array, and then we want index 0, so we could get everything there. Underneath index 0, we'll then want to have
Actually,
an
to make
icon.
our lives easy, let's store the entire weather array in a separate variable.
So it could just be easy to catch our icon. So I'm gonna call this variable a weather details any. Then I'm gonna assign it to that array. I'm gonna assign give it an array of that. So now if you want an icon, we're gonna call the details and say dot icon. Let's log first. This is very important to log if we have the right things and it displays the right ones. Let's have it compiling and see. There we go. At line 30, we have all the details and we want the icon. Now to get an icon, we're gonna call the weather details dot icon. Now let's assign our variable weather icon is equal to weather details dot icon. Now our weather icon variable has the value of 04n, which is a code icon for OpenWeather. I don't know what icon it belongs to, but it depends on the weather conditions. Right, let's see where it belongs to. I'm gonna go on my weather app and see all the icons. So it should be around here in the documentation. Okay, so let me just search for it so it could be quicker to find it.
Let me just control find and see the icon documentations quickly where you can find it. There we go, the link. So these are the icon descriptions, the weather icon descriptions, and the details and how they look like. So as you can see, we had this one. So it means to get it, we need to fetch this URL and replace that part here. And I'll show you how to do that. So I'm gonna have the URL because we're calling it from the cloud. No, not. Yeah, so we're gonna replace that part with our icon that we got. So I'm gonna have the $ curly brackets, our icon that we get from our call, pasted right there. We just remove that one, and let's see. So it has that part of PNG and as well as the size of 2. So we're gonna have let's say at 4, so it could be bigger. And then .png. So that icon should that line should fetch an icon from our cloud. And let's now display it inside our app and see if it will pop up. I'm gonna use the tag image source. Inside our source, we call our icon what we named it weather icon. I'm gonna call it here. Okay, let's see if it will pop up, and there we go. It's a nice cloud, black and white cloud. Let me move it to the end so it could have a nice spacing. Let it compile, and there we go. We have that cloud there. Alright, now we're gonna move on to additional part. So I'm gonna have another card there down, IONIC term. Okay, I need to decide what am I going to display. Let's see our JSON response and see what we can display. So we have maximum temperature. There's also a minimum temperature there. I think I'm also gonna add in humidity. These are still just labels, and then I'm gonna have the values of each underneath that. So let me see if I'm getting the correct ones. So for the minimum temp, maximum temp, they said it's temp underscore max. So it has to be exactly like they called it on JSON. So we need weather temp dot exactly like the JSON temp underscore max. So it could retain the correct value. Okay, let's save that part. Let's have that part at the end. There we go, it's the right value. So we know by now that remaining parts also gonna do the same, and also gonna subtract that number of 273.15. Then we're gonna round it to the 0 decimal point. So we're gonna do it do the same for the minimum temperature as well as the humidity. Okay, and weather details, it's weather temp actually, temp that underscore, it's called min. Minus 273.15 to the 0 decimal point. Put it at the end. Same case here for the value. Okay, think I've made something wrong. Okay, I called the wrong one. Wrong. As you see, it gives us an error there. Now it gives us the right value. Okay. So for humidity, it's 87. So we're gonna call it still the weather temp dot humidity. Let's call the right tag now, so we're not getting that error. And because it's a percentage, when I add percentage sign there, and then we have it. Everything looks perfect. Now we're left with the design, which will be covered in part 2, as well as the search bar. So thank you for watching. Please like this video and also subscribe, and stay tuned for part 2. I'm gonna upload it right after this. Please watch it, it's gonna be very interesting. Bye for now.